Hey guys, John coming at you with another Diablo Immortal video. I know I've been absent actually quite a lot over the last several days, and unfortunately, it's been a little rough to want to play Diablo Immortal. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but we did get an update. I do want to go ahead and I just want to go over some of the pieces of gear that are up there. I want to talk about some of the packs that was offered with this new update, and just in general talk for a minute about Diablo Immortal, and especially more so the gear, because I already got asked a lot of questions. Okay, as a demon hunter, what would you use? So I do want to go ahead and talk about it, like possibilities with the new gear that's been dropped, so on and so forth. So definitely stay tuned, and yeah, be right back. All right, guys, we're back at it. So it's no surprise that we're still way under server Paragon right now. Looks like we're in what, 267 298 is current server Paragon. It's gonna be pretty rough. Now actually it'll be 300 by the time this video goes live, but it's been rough. It's been really rough to want to play the game. Server transfers I think are going to be a little interesting. I'm going to start digging a little bit more into this as well, kind of think more on it, talk to some of the content creators, see how active we think we can make it be. But in general, it's just been rough, right? Like I know a lot of people haven't been playing as much anyways. It's kind of been dying down. I think that's where kind of this whole server transfer thing's going to come into play. And I also think that's why they kind of updated and dropped new legendary pieces of gear for us, right? So I do want to talk briefly about that, because adding new pieces of gear is one way where you can really diversify how you play Diablo Immortal. And it's something where a lot of classes need that. They need that type of refresher, that type of, like it just slightly switches it up here and there, or gives you more options, more customization. Because at this point in the game, right, let's just talk this point in the game, let's say I was where I should be server Paragon wise, it's gonna be almost 300. We look over here, we don't have a health 6. Like we're stuck here until probably 500 and something, right? So we're still, you're talking at least another 3 weeks or so before the topic of health 6 even comes about. So everyone's going to be pretty much not worrying about what their combat rating is, more so as like just playing the game, right? Now, yeah, you are going to have to worry about your DPS still. It's not like you can just forego it to play some cool looking class. It's not going to work well for you. But for those of you that are trying to, say for example, take a little bit of advantage of like some diversity, it's going to be a little different for you. Now, one other thing to note here is I do want to talk about the actual pieces of gear in itself. So let's talk about the new pieces and kind of give you my thoughts as a demon hunter on whether or not I'm going to use them or how I could potentially use them. Let's go ahead and start talking about them. So the first one we're going to talk about is Decoy's Guide here. So this is increases escape maximum charge by 1. This could be potentially a good one, because honestly, when we talk about helms when it comes to the demon hunter, 9 out of 10 times what everyone's going to run is Essence of Vision of the Lost. They're going to run maybe Murder most, if you're, depending on what you're doing. Scatter Mask is going to be another one that you're going to be activating, and then maybe the Boundless Ingenuity, Daring Swing, especially for those who are doing PvP. Those are going to be the main legendary pieces of gear that you use for a demon hunter right now. Most of these other ones that you're going to be talking about aren't going to be something that's going to be super impactful for your account or for damage. So increases escape maximum charge could potentially be something if you pick another piece of gear that modifies escape, right? So let's look at, let's say you want to build like a trapper, right? You want to build a trapper, you may actually be using, where is it? There's another legendary piece of gear. Here it is. You may also use live bait for the shoulders. Escape now causes you to tumble forward and can be activated again for a short time to return to your original location. So this could be where you dive in, roll in a group, drop a trap, dive out and run back, right? Similar to, there's a couple of like Path of Exile and other Diablo builds or Diablo 3 builds that are similar to that, right? That is now a possibility with just these two pieces of gear, mainly because this changes escape, and then this one just allows you an extra charge, which means you can do it 3 times, so you can just quickly boom, 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 right? But overall, in general, not going to be the most greatest legendary item that we've gotten. And honestly, even this one over here, live bait, still something that I don't think is going to be super impactful for any type of build out there, unless you are like the trapper, like I just said. Moving right along, the chest piece of gear, Causticity, This one is okay. I like this one okay, because once again, when we really think about what makes the new gear different from any of the other ones, is you got to think of what could it replace or what could it remove, and that way you can have an idea of what kind of builds can go into it, right? So, for example, when we talk about toxicity, Rain of Vengeance now also corrodes enemy armor, increasing damage taken by 2% for 3 seconds. Notice that it also increases, or also corrodes enemy armor. It's not replacing if you have another modifier on your Rain of Vengeance, which a lot of us do, right? So for example, my Rain of Vengeance, hold up, there we go. My Rain of Vengeance is actually modified to where it's waves of Shadow Beast to assault your enemies. So it's gonna still retain this, but actually no, it won't. I just, you know what? I got a little too ahead of myself. Well, I guess it will, because it's actually it's a chest item, so it could still work there. I was thinking of the other chest, but toxicity then would also allow for, when you're doing that drop straight line, to decrease the enemy damage taken. Now that is going to be impactful. Now there's also the whole thing with the Vengeance cooldown decreased by 15%. That's what 90% of demon hunters out there work that I can think of. And honestly, I think that's probably the most common one out of here, at least that I'm aware of for demon hunters. So this could be potentially a very good one if, let's say, you aren't running a primary Vengeance build, or maybe you have enough cooldown reduction because you capped out in other areas with the 10-star gems, right? Like say if you had multiple level 10 gems and whatnot, so then that automatically gave you the awakened part of the gear. Maybe you don't need it, and that would be where you can swap this out at. Moving right along to the feet. Now the feet, this is where me personally, I have a problem replacing any feat to any of them, because I just don't think they work quite as well. When you have Ruinous Path, which is easily the best one of all of them, because it increases all damage you deal by 6% during Vengeance. And as a demon hunter, you're always trying to proc Vengeance. So this to me is the god tier version of the pants. And honestly, Secret Safeguard, it's not terrible once again if you're using the escape skill, which is not a very common skill. Escape now also grants a shield absorbing 3,244 damage for 5 seconds. Obviously, there is that. It's going to have a cooldown on it. I don't know what the cooldown is. If I had to guess what the cooldown is, it's probably like 60 seconds or something like that cooldown. But either way, it's just one of those where it's not going to be. I don't think you ever take that over Ruinous Path, to be quite honest. I can't advise it. Moving on, we have the offhand here. Which actually, or no, this is the main hand. Sorry, not the offhand. Hobbling Deck. Strafe now also litters the ground behind you with caltrops, continually dealing 1,000 damage and slowing enemy movement speed by 30%. Not bad. This could definitely be an interesting one, especially if you run Strafe in PvP. This could be pretty good here, because it just says slowing enemy. It doesn't specify that has to be, or that it's not PvP oriented or player versus player oriented, right? But I think in general, not a whole lot of Strafe builds out there that are going to be super impactful for your account and be super helpful. If you do have the playstyle though, where you like to run through and then do constant dot damage as you're moving forward and going, this could potentially be a decent one out there. But I think it's a hard argument for Hobbling Deck here. Moving on to offhand. Offhand, we have Thud and one's own Fusillade. Sentry attacks mark enemies, increasing the damage you deal to the target by 8% for 3 seconds. So Sentry's attacks mark enemies, increasing the damage you deal to the target by 8. So basically, if your Sentry is attacking one particular character at a time, as they're taking more and more damage, it's slowly escalating. It's the same as like if you do like a power creep on certain weapons out there in other games, where if you start targeting something and it just a pulse effect gets bigger. A lot of ray guns will have that kind of mechanic, right? Seems like the same type of deal here, and it's increase the damage you deal to the target by 8%. So it's going to basically just multiple times attacking that person is going to go up to 8% damage. So I would definitely attribute to that. As you do more damage to one player, it increases, right? Pretty good. The Thud. I feel like this is not one of the new ones. Impale damage increased by 15% to enemies with an active harmful effect. This is a waste of a skill to begin with. But yeah, and that's gonna do it for the legendary pieces of gear. So kind of a bummer. I like it when they come out with new pieces of gear because it always leads to some potentials out there. And there may be, I may have to dig back down, dig deep, and kind of play with these. I'm gonna go farm them all because I at least want to try them all just to have a better idea how they could work. Maybe I'll play around with some builds, see if I can maybe come up with a better build with utilizing some of these just for funsies. But we'll definitely see. I'll keep you posted as I do it and as I go through it. I'm gonna try to get back to doing my regular posts and kind of catching up here. I think this weekend I'm gonna do a video where I actually like sit down, like actually plant my feet, sit down, and see how long it takes me to actually get my character back to server Paragon. And I think that'd just be a fun video, just because I know a lot of people who may have fell by the wayside. They're trying to come back with the server merger and everything. They're kind of struggling to get those levels back up there with everyone else. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And if you're a demon hunter out there, hopefully my explanation goes along with it, and maybe, you know, we'll see. Maybe that'll help you out. All right, talk to you guys later. Peace.